Many Sephardim and Ashkenazim have the custom to serve fish every Shabbat in honor of Shabbat. According to the book Tikkunei Shabbat, which is based on the teachings of the Arizal and is attributed to his student Rabbi Abraham Halevi Beruchim, fish should be served at all 3 Shabbat meals on Friday night, and again at both the main meal and at Seudah Shlishit on Shabbat day. On Friday night, or at the main Shabbat day meal, it would typically be served right before or even right after the meat dishes. However, Rabbi Chaim Vital, a prominent student of the Arizal, only mentioned eating fish in Seudah Shlishit in his book Peri Etz Hayim. The earliest mention of eating fish for Shabbat is in the Gemara. In Masechet Shabbat, the Gemara asked, "What should you eat to fulfill your obligation of enjoying Shabbat?" The first answer included large fish. The second answer added, even just small fish. However, Harambam made no mention of eating fish when he wrote about how one enjoys Shabbat in his work Mishneh Torah. This is because, according to Harambam, the Gemara was only giving an example of the type of important foods that one should have to enjoy Shabbat, but there is no halakhic requirement to have fish specifically in order to enjoy Shabbat. Similarly, Maran did not mention eating fish on Shabbat in Shulchan Aruch, even though he did write that one should eat and drink plentiful amounts of meat and wine on Shabbat in Shulchan Aruch. Still in all, many Middle Eastern communities practice the custom of having fish for Shabbat. In the 19th century in Tripoli, Rabbi Yaakov Rakach coined the popular adage, Kol ha'ochel dag v'yom dag nitzol mid-dag. Whoever eats fish, which is dag in Hebrew, on the day of dag, meaning on Shabbat, since the numerical value of the word dag is 7, is saved from dag, which is the acronym for Din Gehinam, which means from suffering in one's afterlife in the next world. And the Ben Ish Hai wrote that it's a mitzvah to eat fish at all 3 Shabbat meals, and also provided a lengthy explanation as to why it is important to do so. In Halab, many traditional delicacies were prepared in honor of Shabbat: mahshi, yabra, keftes, kibbeh hamda, kibbeh al-hambajin, meat sambusak, and more. But fish was not part of the traditional Shabbat menu in Halab. This is most probably due to the fact that fish was not considered a popular food in Halab in previous generations. It's not that fish was not available at all, but rather it was not considered something as special or as enjoyable as the meat foods that were traditionally served for Shabbat. So while according to the Mikubalim, it is important to serve fish on Shabbat, at least for Seudah Shlishit, in Halab it was not customary to serve fish at all on Shabbat. This is consistent with the rulings of both Harambam and Maran, who did not mention eating fish as part of one's obligation to enjoy Shabbat. Likewise, growing up in the community in Brooklyn, it was not customary to serve fish at any of the Shabbat meals.